Release the Kraken!
Greetings, fellow game designers. Ron here at Lame Duck Studios. And today, we're going to take a look at setting up a character definition for our Luigi. This really works for any character. I just happen to pick Luigi. If you're working on Elf Dude or your own character or whatever, the setup is the same. I'm also going to show you how to then take your character definition and apply that to motion capture data that you may have captured at some point. So, without further ado, make sure you have some version of your character. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I have this as my bind pose. This is my Luigi 20 skeleton. I will just make a bind pose out of him, just because I haven't done that yet. So Luigi underscore bind pose. Okay, and then I'm going to come over to my character definition. Of course, you should make sure that your stuff is skin weighted and ready to go, and you can see he's got skin weights. Come over to your channel box area and open up the little human IK icon, this little guy here. We're going to come down to create character definition, and we're going to have this person. First thing on the list, I'm going to come up with this little blue icon. I'm going to click on that and do rename character. I'll just call this Luigi. And then down here, all I have to do is map out the bones that I want. So first off, I'll get my root all the way down to the bottom here. I'm going to right click on this reference bone and hit assign, and there it is. And we'll go through and get the rest of them as we go. Let's see. The pelvis, that's going to be this big one right here. You can see it says hips, but your pelvis and your hips are connected. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and then right click assign. Next bone up, that's going to be spine 1, and that's going to go here. So right click assign, and then let's go to this little drop down. Inside of my spine list, I have spine 2 and spine 3. So I'm going to grab spine 2, I'll add it at the bottom here, and then spine 3 right in the middle, I'll add to that. And then we have these neck bones here. So I've got this one, this is my neck. And if I check my channel box, I can see that I have neck 1 and neck 2, and then I have head. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my human IK, and then I'll go to the neck, and I happen to have 2 neck bones, so I'm going to grab this one and assign it, so that's neck 1. If you happen to have a neck 2, as you can see I do on my hierarchy, I have a neck 2, then you would add yourself a neck 2. If you don't have a second neck joint, you don't have to add it. And I'll exit that, and then I will grab the head joint. Now I have a head 1 and a head 2. The only one I really care about is the base, so I'm going to grab that one, and then I'll assign that to the head, like so. Let's go ahead and do the legs real quick. I'll grab my left leg, right click, and then assign. If you have your left and right legs named with a good naming convention, Maya will figure it out and assign the other one for you. Let's grab the knee, and I'll assign that. And then the foot is going to be on this ankle joint here. Go ahead and assign that. And then inside the drop down, we have this bone right here. This is the inner foot bone, or the ball of the foot. That's this guy. We'll assign that. Now I don't really have any toes, so I'm going to leave the toes off, but if your character has posable toes, you would add them here. Let's go up and do the arms, and we will start at the collarbone. So I'll grab my collarbone joint, which is right here. Now Luigi does have an extra joint for these buttons. I'm going to ignore that. I'm just going to get that collarbone joint right there. I'll hit that little drop down, and I'll add the collarbone joint. I don't have any additional collarbone joints, so I'll leave that alone. I'll go up and grab my left shoulder, and I'll apply it here. And then I'll get the forearm, apply that here. And then the wrist, I'll apply that here. And then inside of the hand, we've got all of the hand joints. And let's go, and I'll grab the base of the thumb. And you can see how many bones I have. I've got 1, 2, 3. And then I do have a 4th joint, which is the fingertip, but I don't actually need it. You can see it's grayed out here. The only ones that are required are the ones that are highlighted in white. So I'm going to go ahead and just right-click and then assign at the base. I'm going to use the arrow key, up or down, to shift to the next bone so I don't have to keep clicking. And then I'll right-click and assign, and I'll shift up to the next bone, right-click and assign. And I don't need the last one, so I'll jump over and grab this finger, and then I'll assign it, and then assign it, and then one more. Let's go to the middle finger. Let's assign it, and then assign that one, and then this one. And grab that. Assign here. Again, I'm hitting the arrow keys to go to the next bone, and then assigning it. I'll grab the pinky, assign it, and then assign it. And once you do that, you will have a checkbox. Yay! Now, if you happen to have a situation where one of your arms doesn't line up, you will get a warning, and it'll just say, hey, it's off axis. You'll have to go through and make an adjustment to try to make it parallel. I would check your rotations and just make sure that the rotations on the joint are set to 0. If that doesn't help, you can manually adjust it until you get it to where they're lined up on the axis. Now, once you have your definition set up, we can go ahead and save it. So I'm going to go over to this little save icon. I'll click that. For the template, this is just going to be the same name as your character. So this is going to be my Luigi. And I'll just leave it at that. For the example bone, it wants to know what bone you're going to be starting with. And I'm just going to be using my root, which is here. Prefix. If your character has a prefix to the character name, so maybe Luigi underscore root or Mario underscore root or whatever, you would prefix it with that character name here. You can see that Luigi just has root through whatever. There's no initial prefix, so I don't have to start with one. And then the path here, this is the default template path for Maya, and I'm just going to keep it there. Of course, you can navigate to wherever you like for that, okay? And I will just save that here. What's really cool about that is if this was ever cleared by accident, or you were starting on a new character and you wanted to use the same map, you could just load it in, you grab the root, and then you hit load, and you can find your template. Amazing. Now that we have this set up, of course, we want to save it. So let's go up to File, and then save our current file. Awesome. Now if you want to transfer any motion capture data or animation from other characters, you're going to have to do that setup again for that particular character. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go up to File, New. In my new scene, I'm just going to import an animation from my motion capture. So I'll go up to File and then Import. I'll go to my Access Studio file. And then inside of my test folder here, I'll get my outputs. And here is the Luigi kick. So I'll go ahead and just use this. You can use any animation that you want. I'll go ahead and just import this one. Okay. And here is this Luigi kick file. So if we go to play it, you can see this is what he kind of does. Now there are some broken things in this animation. Don't worry about that. We're going to learn how to fix that. But for this tutorial, we're just going to look at setting up the character definitions. So once you have your skeleton in your scene, you will set up your definition. So we'll go through that process again. Hit Create Character Definition. We'll set a name for it. I'm going to call this whatever motion capture thing that you're using. I'm using Access Studio, but you can use whatever. So I'm going to say Access Studio skeleton, because this is my Access Studio animation here. And then I will go through the process of setting up the joints again. So we'll go ahead and just add our bones, assign, and then here's my leg, and then I'll get my ankle. And then on this particular skeleton, his center foot is actually here. He has no toes, so grab that center foot and I'll apply it. And if it's helpful, if you hover over it'll tell you what goes there. So if I hover this, this is the left toe base assigned to the left toe base. This bone here is named left toe base, right? And then the spot that it goes has a little name there, right? So all these bones are named exactly what you need them to be for what you need. So like this one down here would be the reference, which is reference, and so on. This one, my pelvis bone, this is just named hips. So I'll go ahead and just name that here, or assign it here. And then I'll go up the list. So spine 1 is here. And then inside here, they have 2 spine joints after that. So spine 1 and then 2 more. So spine 2. And then spine 3. And now they named theirs spine 1, spine 2, but it doesn't matter as long as you have them in. For the neck, they only have 1 neck joint, so I'll just add that here. And then for the head joint, it's this very last one at the end. For the collarbone, same deal. We're going to go into the layer. And I only have the 1, so I'll just add it here. For the shoulder, we'll add that. And then the forearm. And then the wrist. Now, this skeleton did come in with some very large joints, and it's really hard to see. So I'll show you a quick trick. If we grab the root here, and then go up to select, we'll do hierarchy. That'll grab all the bones there. If I just open that, you can see I've got them all selected. If we come over to our channel box, and then go to radius, I'll drop that down to 1. And now all the bones are a little bit tinier, and I can see them a lot easier. That won't affect the animation any, it just makes it a bit nicer to see. And now I can go and finish setting up the rest of this. So I'll open up the hand here, and I'll very quickly just add these in. Once again, I'm using the down arrow to move quickly through the bones. It is very easy to get ahead of yourself. Try not to do that. Take your time, and you will have fewer mistakes. Okay. There we go. And now, of course, that we have that, we will save it. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And then again, you'll just name it whatever your thing is. So this is my Axis Studio skeleton. So I'll do Axis Studio skeleton. And the example bone is going to be the reference. And I'm just going to save this in its usual spot. And I'll hit OK. And then I will save the Maya file. So I'll go to File, Save As. And then this is going to be the name of whatever animation package I'm using, and then the animation name. So I'm using Axis Studio, and then this animation is Luigi Kick. So Luigi Kick. And then I will save the Maya file, like that. Okay, so now that's set up, we have a little bit of work that we're doing specifically for our animation package. So again, I'm using Axis Studio, and this has been exported at 60 frames per second. And if I select him, you can see we have all of our frames here, but we have an issue. So if I go over and scroll this down, you can see that we have these little half frames. So I'm at 0, and then there's something in the middle. You can see the dotted line, and then I have a 1, and then so on. And there's these, it's just not very convenient. I can't click on those. So what do? Well, we need to reset our frame rate. So I'm going to come over to my FPS meter here, hit the drop down, and look for my 60 FPS. Once I do that, these should snap into position, and now it's 1 per frame. Awesome. Now, if that didn't snap for you, come over to the settings here, And inside the animation playback settings, make sure that you uncheck Keep Keys at Current Frame. And then it should resize once you reset it. Okay. One other thing I want to do while I'm in here, I do want to make sure that my playback speed is set to 60 FPS times 1. The default is play every frame, so just make sure you set that, and you can save that. And this animation is pretty much ready to go and be transferred, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I shall see you in the next one. Hey guys, thank you for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed that video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Or if you want to support the channel, check me out on Patreon or pick up one of my books, Life and Times of Dinah Marton or The Guardian's Path of Ascension. Speaking of which, I'm converting The Guardians into a graphic novel / comic book series. Here is a sneak peek. My wonderful artist, Patrick, is doing a great job. I'm excited. I want to push this out as soon as possible. So definitely keep your ears and eyes open for that. I'll be making announcements as we get closer, and I'll post some shots of that as we go. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can check me out on Twitter. I guess now it's X. Who does that? It's BruceRF1 at Twitter, or at whatever the new thing for Twitter is. Anyway, hopefully see you there, and I'll see you guys next time.